Hi everyone, Michael Cavacini here, and today I'm doing another one of my James Bond movie reviews. Today we're going to be talking about License to Kill, starring Timothy Dalton. So for the purposes of this review, I watched the special edition DVD of License to Kill. As I mentioned in my first video about this, I'm going through the special edition DVD box sets. There are 3 of them, and they're all mixed up, right? So this is not in chronological order. This is in the order that the DVDs are in each of those box sets. So this is, I think, I don't know, movie number 4 or 5 in the first box set. But License to Kill, this is the second movie starring Timothy Dalton and his last appearance as James Bond. So let's dive in to my thoughts on this movie. All right. And if you want to read the full written review, visit my site. There'll be a link down below. There you'll get not only my thoughts, but also the story, some 00 insights, which are some factoids and trivia about the movie, and more. So I watched License to Kill twice for this review. So with a new baby in the house, I felt it was important to watch it twice, because the first time I watched it, I don't think I was paying attention too well. And I thought, well, I can't really write a review or record a video review about this, because I don't really feel like I absorbed it enough. Obviously, I've seen the movie previously, but for this review, I wanted to make sure I had everything fresh in my mind. So I watched it a second time. And I can confidently say that License to Kill is an excellent movie, and I think it's a terrific entry in the now 60-year-old James Bond franchise. So the story for License to Kill starts off with Felix Leiter getting married. Felix is portrayed by David Hedison, who also played this role of Felix in Live and Let Die. That's pretty cool that he's reprising his role. I thought it was great seeing him back in action. I thought he did a great job. It was such an important character. And the actor, David, half-jokingly mentioned that Cubby Broccoli thought he was too old to play Felix again, and he mentioned this in the behind-the-scenes documentary featured on this DVD. So, yeah, I guess so much time had passed that Cubby thought, oh, is he really going to be able to pull off this role? But thankfully, he got the part, and I'm glad he did, because he deserved it. So everyone loves to talk about how dark, gritty, and violent License to Kill is. To a degree, it is, but I don't think it's nearly as dark, gritty, and violent as other movies from the 1980s. For example, RoboCop. If you watch RoboCop and you see when Murphy gets killed before he becomes RoboCop, the violence in that is pretty brutal. So I would say that this doesn't come anywhere near that level of brutality. But of course, this isn't that campy, schmaltzy Roger Moore version of Bond either. So, it is different from that. But the bottom line is that I don't think the mood of the movie really is an attribute or detriment. It's just a shift in style. And I think that's the best way to look at it. So Timothy Dalton is just as excellent at this time as he was in The Living Daylights. As is Robert Davi as Sanchez, and Anthony Zerbe as Milton Crest. I feel like he doesn't necessarily get enough credit. Everyone talks about Robert Davi, who is, of course, excellent. But Anthony Zerbe, who I know from Kiss Meets the Phantom in the Park, he was the villain in that TV movie. And he was great in this one, too, just real sleazeball. But Robert Davi was, tremendous in his role as well. So the person who's in charge of casting for License to Kill, they did a great job, because everyone they chose for these roles, they did were just superb. So just excellent, excellent work there. And now, while Ken Adam was no longer in charge of production design for this movie, or for the James Bond films, I believe he stopped at Moonraker, Peter Lamont did a fine job with location scouting. So, it wasn't necessarily all of the old folks who worked on all the previous Bonds on this movie, but you did have some regulars behind the scenes, and people who had worked on the series for many years. And Peter Lamont really just did a fantastic job, because they were kind of limited, if I recall from watching the behind-the-scenes documentary, and they chose to film this, I think it was in Mexico, where normally they would not be in Mexico. They would normally be doing it in, I think they talked about Japan and some other locations, but I think for budgetary reasons or travel restrictions, or there was some sort of reason why they had to go to Mexico to film this, and that's what they did. And the locations that he picked are really fantastic. I mean, everything from the underwater scenes to the bar fight to Sanchez's opulent abode at the end of the movie were just all great visuals. And it felt, at some points in the movie, it felt like an old school Sean Connery, James Bond. I think mainly because the underwater scenes kind of remind me of Thunderball and some other Bond movies where underwater action was taking place. So I appreciated the panache that this movie exuded throughout, and visually it's just a really nice looking film and vibrant with color, especially when it was those scenes in Mexico. Now, for the first time in 26 years, John Barry was not in charge of the score. Instead, Michael Kamen was at the helm, and I thoroughly enjoyed what he brought to the table. His score was classic Bond mixed with modern elements that helped evolve the 007 sound. Gladys Knight turned in a legendary vocal for the title track, a song that I have grown to appreciate over the years. I didn't care for it too much back in the day because it's not that classic James Bond theme. But now, as an adult, I think it's actually quite a good song, and she does a fantastic job with it. But my favorite part of the soundtrack was during the movie's final moments. So Pam Bouvier said to Bond, "Why don't you wait until you're asked?" He replied, "So why don't you ask me?" And then, of course, they kiss. And right as this happens, Patti LaBelle's spectacular "If You Ask Me To" plays, and the credits roll. So, I mean, it's just a great moment where the dialogue in the film is married, if you will, to the song that's playing in the background. And I thought that was just really well done. A great way to end a movie. And actually, I think that this may have been the first time I saw this movie, back in the early 2000s, I guess. It was probably when I first became aware of Patti LaBelle, because I heard the song and I said, "Who's that?" And they actually have the music video for this song on the DVD. And I watched it and I was like, wow, this is great. And I looked into more of her music, and the rest is history. So I guess you could say my fandom for Patti LaBelle came from James Bond. So go figure. Behind the camera was John Glenn. So he's one of those figures who has worked on many Bond films in the past, who came back, and this time he was directing. And he called this his best directed film. He's really proud of License to Kill and the way it turned out. And I think he did a splendid job of capturing the raw action and high octane energy that this movie exudes, and that he made it a fun to watch thrill ride the whole way through. I mean, it's really great directing, and I have zero complaints about the way he shot this movie. Overall, License to Kill is highly enjoyable. It has a certain edge, of course, and there is plenty of violence, including a vicious and combustive end for Sanchez, but there are also moments of humor and romance, too. The Bond girls are formidable, beautiful, and nuanced, which isn't always the case. Timothy Dalton is perfect as 007, and Robert Davi and Anthony Zerbe were delightfully sleazy as the lead villain and henchman. License to Kill had beautiful locales, an exciting story, great music, and brilliant directing, making it a James Bond film for the ages. As for this special edition DVD, there is a lot of good stuff on here. Like I said, this is back when they first, I should point this out. So this is when they first created a widescreen master for optimal picture and sound quality. So prior to this DVD coming out, movies were full screen, home video. So if you do get this special edition DVD, keep in mind that on the left and the right side, and specifically the left side, there are some artifacts, because it wasn't a perfect job when they came to remastering it for widescreen. So at first I thought there was something wrong with the DVD, and I learned by reading online and watching other copies that, oh no, this is just the way it was remastered. So I guess back in whenever the heck this DVD came out, 2002, 3, that was considered pretty good. But for these in 2022, that's not exactly what we're expecting. So if you watch the digital version or the Blu-ray version or whatever, you're not going to see those things. But if you pick up this version, you will have that. So keep that in mind. But the special features on here are very good. There's I think about an hour-long behind-the-scenes documentary. There's the music videos. There's a featurette. There's audio commentaries and all sorts of things to enjoy. So the special features are really good. And one thing it does have that I wish that these physical releases still had is that when you open it up, there's this special, they call it like a collectible booklet, right? So it's like a multi-page, full-color booklet that has behind-the-scenes information about the film, just about, you know, filming and actors and location and all this stuff. It's like liner notes for a movie, which they used to do all the time with DVDs. Then they got cheap, right? They just cut back on those things. I mean, hell, they even cut back on the quality of DVD cases. Now they have those ones that have the recycling symbol on it, and it's like paper thin. It's just pretty much crap. So, yeah, it just made me miss the days of when they used to have little additional items included. Also included in there was an insert for Nightfire, which was the great James Bond video game that I owned for the GameCube. I don't know which system you owned it for. Feel free to let me know down below. But yeah, lots of good memories just enjoying the packaging of this special edition DVD from MGM. But yeah, there it is. Those are my thoughts on License to Kill starring Timothy Dalton as part of my 60th anniversary of James Bond celebration. This is going to go well into 2023 because as I record this, it is December 31st, 2022. So I am going to continue to watch the movies, continue to bring you these reviews, and please feel free to comment down below on your thoughts on each of these films. If you haven't watched my other video reviews, check them out. Make sure to like this video, subscribe to my channel, visit me at michaelcavacini.com for more great content, including James Bond. And thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you have a fantastic day. I hope you have a happy new year, and I will see you again. But when I see you, it will be 2023. Take care. Bye.